The galaxy was burning. From the edge of the Perseid Arm to the violet nebulae of the Tshara Dominion, systems went dark one by one. Entire fleets disappeared without distress, only faint static left behind, then silence. The Drael Hive had arrived. The Hive didn't conquer. It consumed. Each world was stripped bare, oceans boiled, cities dissolved into biomass. They learned, adapted, multiplied, unstoppable. Against them, every species fell the same way, slowly, then all at once. On the Tshara command world of Koresh, the Dominion's last High Marshal stood before a flickering holomap. Red icons bloomed like infection around their home system. Fleet Command's voices screamed over comms. Sector 8 gone. Planetfall in 4 hours. We have no reinforcements left. Admiral Kalen, feathers dulled with exhaustion, slammed a clawed hand on the console. We have to call for help. The War Council froze. To the Tshara, that word was shame. Their ancestors had conquered empires without aid. But this time, the Drael didn't care about pride. A trembling comms officer asked, "Who would answer, sir? The Council? The Archon combine? The humans?" The name hung in the air. Humans. Traitors. Diplomats. Minor participants in galactic affairs. The Dominion had mocked them for their endless politeness, their lack of territorial ambition. Kalen exhaled. Send it to everyone. Every frequency, every relay. The transmission pulsed outward, a scream into infinity. This is the Tshara Dominion. We are under assault by the Drael Hive. To any who hear, send us anything. Weapons, ships, even advice. We are being slaughtered. The message went unanswered for days. Systems fell. Worlds went black. The High Marshal stopped sleeping. Hope became a rumor. Then, on the 4th day, the comms board lit up. A single signal. Short. Cold. Digital. Distress acknowledged. Human Strategic Command preparing assistance. Kalen's heart skipped. Humanity? The Terrans? The comms officer frowned. That's all they said, sir. No coordinates, no fleet ID, no arrival time. Anything else? He hesitated. One more line. The holo flickered, displaying a simple text field in ancient galactic standard. Assistance confirmed. Clearance requested for orbital entry. The Dominion Command Center went silent. No warp signatures appeared, no fleets on approach. Scanners found nothing, until the stars themselves began to move. At first, it looked like a shadow. Then the shadow grew, expanding across the planet's upper atmosphere. Space distorted around it, gravity sensors spiked, and orbital satellites spun out of alignment. "By the ancestors," whispered one of the bridge officers. "That's not a ship." Kalen looked up through the viewing dome, and saw a shape eclipse half the horizon. Metallic, angular, blacker than the void, its hull covered in geometric scars. It moved with terrifying calm. The comms cracked open again. A voice spoke, human but distorted by machine comm. "This is the Terran support ship Leviathan. Responding to distress call. Please clear orbital lanes for engagement." Kalen felt his throat tighten. "Support ship?" Outside, the Leviathan turned, eclipsing the sun. And the war for Koresh paused, because even the Drael Hive hesitated. The Drael Hive had no concept of fear, until the sky turned dark. From orbit, Koresh's upper atmosphere rippled like water under stress. Gravity itself bent. Energy readings spiked off every scale, and the planet's magnetic poles shifted 2 degrees in less than a second. Every Drael bioship, sleek, organic, pulsing with sickly green light, hesitated. They were predators. But something older had entered their hunting ground. The Leviathan emerged from warp like a mountain tearing through a storm. It was not beautiful. It was not sleek. It was deliberate. Its hull bore impact scars from wars fought before the current galactic calendar even existed. Whole sections were layered in obsolete alloys no one alive could forge anymore. The Tshara Dominion fleet, what was left of it, watched from high orbit. Dozens of battered cruisers and gunships, engines flickering. Their sensors could not even measure the human ship's full mass. Readings broke into nonsense, showing undefined object, negative volume, or simply error. Size estimate? Kalen demanded, claws digging into the armrest. The sensor chief's crest flattened in disbelief. Admiral, the vessel is over 90 kilometers in length. That's impossible. Impossible doesn't exist anymore, Kalen murmured. Not today. Then came the voice again, calm, courteous, and utterly indifferent. Chara Dominion Command, this is Terran Support Ship Leviathan. Your distress call has been confirmed. Target analysis in progress. Please clear orbital lanes. A pause, as if it was asking permission politely to unleash hell. Kalen responded automatically. Orbital lanes are clear, Terran Command. But what kind of ship are you? The voice didn't answer. Instead, the Leviathan moved. Slowly, its ventral plates shifted, revealing a city's worth of structure beneath. Rings of faint blue light spiraled along its hull, activation runes of ancient Terran design. Hundreds of ports opened, releasing silent drones the size of gunboat. Every Drail ship in low orbit turned as one, their hive minds shrieking at the intrusion. A billion psychic echoes of rage flooded comms, making lesser Chara officers double over in pain. The humans didn't reply. From the Leviathan's dorsal ridge, an enormous lens unfolded, a gravity cannon, the kind only spoken of in myth. It didn't fire energy or plasma. It bent spacetime itself. And then, space screamed. A Drail formation of over 200 ships simply vanished. Not destroyed. Not exploded. Vanished, leaving a hollow distortion in the void, a scar where physics no longer applied. The Chara bridge fell silent. Someone whispered, "They killed an entire fleet without firing a shot." A human voice broke in again. Engagement phase 1 complete. Hostile matter integrity at -60%. Proceeding with sterilization. More beams unfolded. Not light, not heat, something deeper, a ripple through creation. Every Drail ship caught within the distortion collapsed into singularity points, consumed by their own mass. The hive's mind shrieked across the stars. Its psychic wail made Koresh's moon crack down its equator. But even the hive learned. Its fleets began to scatter, flee, anything to escape that cold, methodical retribution. Kalen could barely breathe. Who are these humans? On the command deck of the Leviathan, Admiral Rain Calder watched the battle unfold through a halo of holograms. His expression didn't change. Status, he asked quietly. Drail biomass reduction at 82%, Admiral. Secondary waves fleeing the system. Calder nodded once. Continue. No survivors. Outside, the ship turned like a predator tracing blood through water. And in the black, under the weight of that impossible shadow, the Drail hive met something it had never encountered before: human mercy. Mercy in the form of total annihilation. Koresh's night sky became a canvas of extinction. Where stars once twinkled, they now bled. From the surface, Chara citizens watched in silent awe as streaks of light tore through the heavens, not meteors, but Drail bioships burning on reentry, falling like divine punishment. The horizon flashed white again and again as debris rained down, leaving molten scars across continents. But the Leviathan was silent. No boasting, no broadcast, no anthem. Only purpose. In orbit, its gravity cannons cycled again, folding the void within human precision. Each pulse carved a corridor of absence through Drail formations. A dozen, 100, 1,000, gone in silence, replaced by nothing. Admiral Calder stood in the Leviathan's command cradle, hands clasped behind his back. Holographic data drifted around him, casualty grids, structural readouts, swarm distribution models updating in real time. All fleets are disengaging, reported Lieutenant Mora, her voice flat. Hive mass is collapsing into subswarms. Calder nodded slowly. They adapt. Always do. He turned toward the tactical holosphere, a vast projection showing the Koresh system. Dozens of red icons still flickered across it. Each one represented a living Drail node, a sentient hive mind fragment. He pointed. Erase them. Mora hesitated. Sir, the gravitational backlash will sterilize half the system. Erase them. Her throat tightened. She complied. The Leviathan's lower hull began to hum, low and terrible, a vibration that passed through metal, air, bone, and thought alike. Every Chara ship in orbit felt it. The hive felt it too. The Drail screamed. The hum built into resonance. Then, abruptly, silence. And then the universe folded. Space itself inverted for a fraction of a second. The stars dimmed. Every Drail vessel, every living organism infected by their code, disintegrated into quantum ash. The hive's final psychic scream tore through 100 systems, then was gone. Below, on Koresh, soldiers fell to their knees. The clouds above them shimmered red, then gold. The sun dimmed, and for an instant the entire world saw something impossible, a halo of light circling the Leviathan like a burning crown. Admiral Calder exhaled through his nose, the faintest tremor of weariness in his voice. Threat neutralized. Begin containment sweep. The human ship deployed thousands of drones, microscopic constructs that fanned across the void, scrubbing Drail residue from reality itself. The ship cleaned its own battlefield, erasing even the memory of what had been there. On the Chara command deck, Admiral Kalen watched through the feed, shaking. They killed a species. In minutes. The comms officer whispered, Sir, should we thank them? Kalen stared at the holoscreen, where the Leviathan hung against the ruined sky like a god that had grown tired of pretending. You don't thank a thunderstorm, he said quietly. You survive it. High above, the Leviathan drifted into position, its weapons dimming, its engines cooling like a dying star. It did not celebrate. It did not speak. It simply waited. And in that silence, the galaxy changed. The war ended in silence. Above Koresh, the Leviathan hung motionless, its hull still glowing faintly from the gravitational backlash. No transmissions. No acknowledgement. Just that vast, terrible shape drifting like a moon that refused to move. The Drail hive was gone. Every last trace of it. Not even dust remained. The Chara Dominion had been saved. But no one was celebrating. The War Council gathered in Koresh's orbiting command citadel, staring through reinforced glass at the shadow of the human ship. It filled the viewport like a horizon. Transmit our gratitude again, Admiral Kalen ordered, voice low. Formal message, all channels. The comms officer nodded, talons trembling as he spoke into the mic. To Terran Command Vessel Leviathan. This is Admiral Kalen of the Chara Dominion. Our people owe you our lives. You have our eternal thanks. Please, respond. The transmission vanished into the void. No answer. Minutes passed. Then an hour. At last, the human frequency blinked to life. This is Admiral Rain Calder, commanding the Terran support ship Leviathan. His voice was calm, steady, precise, spoken like someone used to giving orders to worlds. Chara Dominion, your distress has been resolved. Hive biomass, 0. Environmental contamination, negligible. Mission complete. Kalen leaned forward. Admiral Calder, we would welcome your delegation. Our people wish to offer formal alliance. Humanity has saved us, and alliance is unnecessary. The alien officer froze. Unnecessary? Humanity does not seek alliances. Calder's tone didn't change. We answered your distress because it was broadcast on open frequencies. It is now terminated. Do not send such messages again. The council chamber fell silent. Kalen forced himself to speak. We don't understand. We only wish to express gratitude. Your aid, your power, could end the hive across the galaxy. For a long moment, the channel hissed with static. Then Calder replied, If humanity acts again, the galaxy will not survive it. Kalen blinked, unsure he heard correctly. What are you saying? The Leviathan is one of 7 remaining planetary siege platforms. Each was built to end civilizations that refused surrender. The Drael were the last reminder of why we locked them away. The alien delegation stared, horror dawning in their eyes. You call it mercy, Calder continued, but it was containment. The hive would have reached Earth eventually. We simply closed the door before it did. Kalen's feathers flared. You destroyed an entire species. Yes, Calder said simply. And now we deactivate. Do not call us again. The channel cut. In orbit, the Leviathan's reactor signatures began to dim. Enormous shutters folded over its hull, sealing weapon ports, reducing output to near zero. Slowly, it drifted away from Koresh, engines humming like a dying god exhaling its last breath. The Chara War Council sat in silence. Gratitude turned to unease. At last, Kalen whispered, we begged for salvation and invited apocalypse instead. Outside, the Leviathan's colossal silhouette vanished into the dark, leaving only a trail of distorted starlight and the faint echo of Admiral Calder's final warning. If you ask again and we answer, it won't be as rescuers. Centuries passed. The Chara Dominion rebuilt their worlds, slowly, cautiously. The burned lands of Koresh turned green again. Their children grew up beneath skies that no longer wept fire. But every school, every shrine, every monument bore the same inscription carved in old Terran script. Never call the humans. The day the Leviathan came became legend, half salvation, half nightmare. Priests called it the day the sky burned. Veterans of that war refused to speak of it. Scientists still argued if the human ship had truly erased the Drael or merely pushed them beyond the edge of physics. None dared to ask the Terrans for clarification. Because after that day, humanity went silent. No transmissions. No ambassadors. Not a single ship sighted beyond soul space. They withdrew from galactic politics entirely, their borders closed, their colonies sealed. The polite traders vanished, and the polite diplomats were gone. But the galaxy still remembered. And it feared. On the 1000th anniversary of the Drael's extinction, Admiral Kalen's great-granddaughter, now Archon of the Dominion, received a signal. Weak, ancient, encoded in Terran frequency. Her aides panicked. Every legend warned what happened when humans transmitted first. But she opened it anyway. The message was short. We remember your world. We hope it endures. Do not fear us. Just don't make us come back. The line cut. No source traceable. No coordinates found. The Archons stared at the empty screen, then looked out toward the stars, the same stars that had once bent under the Leviathan's gravity. Fear you, she whispered. No. We pray you never notice us again. Far from any known system, in the dead silence between galaxies, something vast drifted through the dark. The TSS Leviathan slept, engines cold, hull coated in centuries of interstellar dust. Inside, the ship's lights glowed faintly blue, like the pulse of something dreaming. In its command cradle, Admiral Rain Calder, older now, hair silvered and eyes dim, stood alone before the central hollow. Thousands of signals pulsed across the map. New distress calls, new wars, new cries for help. Civilizations begging for salvation, repeating the same ancient plea. Send us anything. We're being slaughtered. Calder exhaled, voice barely above a whisper. Anything. He reached for the command console. Paused. Then turned away. Let them learn, he murmured. We gave mercy once. The stars still remember. The Leviathan's reactor heart flickered briefly, like a heartbeat in the dark, then went still again. And somewhere, in 100 alien languages, children repeated the oldest warning in the galaxy. If you cry for help, pray the humans don't answer.